set up a 20-man committee to do away with this vulgar, animalistic, nigger rock and roll pop.
The obscenity and vulgarity of the rock and roll music is obviously a means by which the white man and his children can be driven to the level with a nigger.
I think Chuck Berry is probably up way at the top of being considered a father of rock and roll, only because he has influenced so many people. I mean, the Beatles, I mean, everybody, yeah. But he started this whole thing.
He can go in anywhere. He doesn't have to carry a band because everybody knows his music. You know, if you can't play Chuck Berry, you can't work in no club. You know, it's a lot of, you know, if you ever played, you had to know certain songs. If you didn't know that, they say, man, wait a minute, you're not a rock and roller.
There was an integration problem in this town and in this part of America. Pretty severe integration problem back then. But there was no integration in music. When you walked up to an old 54, 55 model Wurlitzer jukebox and it said blue suede shoes, Carl Perkins, white. Blueberry Hill, Fats Domino, black. No. There was no difference. Kids danced to Little Richard, Chuck Berry, Elvis, Carl. Chuck Berry said to me one time, he said, you know, Carl, we might be doing as much with our music as our leaders are in Washington to break down the barriers. He was right.
Integration, throughout of which will come a conglomerated balada.
We used to go motorcade when we did a lot of the tours. Like, you know, we would follow each other. All of a sudden, these troopers came from nowhere, and they stopped us, and it wasn't about, well, what did we do? It wasn't about that. It was like, get in them cars and follow us. They took us way back up in the woods somewhere. It was like a house. Sitting back way back off the road up in the woods. And they filed us all out in the cars. They put the ladies in one room, and they had these cells in the back. And they made the guys take off all their jewelry, give up the money, everything, and put them in the cells. And they had their little kangaroo coat, and we had to pay to get out of there. We were lucky to get out of there, but maybe with so many of us. I remember those times well, and they really do happen.
music is black music. If it was white music, I would say it's white music, but it's nothing but rhythm and blues. That R&B stands for real black. Same old blues. But what we did, we took boogie woogie that black people was playing all the time, and we put the blues and the boogie woogie together, rock and roll. See, rock and roll is nothing but rhythm and blues up tempo. And rhythm and blues up tempo is boogie woogie. It's just like a boogie woogie. Let's see here.
But this morning, Luke, she was not as tight. I am afraid the bottom.
My music broke down racial barriers. I would play places, and they would have white spectators. The white people would sit upstairs. The black people would be downstairs because I was a black band. And the white people would leap over the balcony and come down where we were, and the audience would start integrating because music has no racial boundary.
Richard is an institution, and the books is closed on that. All you can do is say, when you say Little Richard, think of rock and roll.
I was still a different complexion, you know, and it was hard for me because the white girls screaming over me, and they didn't like that. The system didn't like that. But I wasn't after the girls. I wasn't after the boys. I was there to entertain them and to give them some joy.
Such a wonderful song.
I didn't believe when everybody attacked it, saying that the purpose of rock and roll was to lower the white man to the level of the Negro, but it turned out it was true. It did, I think, raise us to the level of the Negro. It raised us into being more emotional, being more honest, being in touch with our feelings.
How much is that doggy in the window? The one with the waggly tail. How much is that doggy in the window? I do hope that dog is for sale.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. Well, you ain't never gonna ever, and you ain't no friend of mine.
But we was one of the main doors that came through. Chuck Berry was a main door himself. And we're not saying that Elvis wasn't the main door. I would never say that. Because Elvis started white people to really sing in rock and roll.
Yeah, they said you were high class. Well, it was just a lie. Yeah, you ain't never gonna ever, and you ain't no friend of mine. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. Crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. Crying all the time. Yeah, you ain't never gonna ever, you ain't no friend of mine. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. Crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. Crying all the time. Well, you ain't never gonna ever, you ain't no friend of mine. You ain't nothing but a hound.
Elvis Presley, I didn't miss a lick when I heard him. B.B. King, Roscoe Gordon, Joe Hill Lewis, Little Junior Parker, Bobby Blue Bland. Now listen to this. These are people that nobody would look at, let alone audition, let alone make records on them. Then I'm going to take it another generation, because I knew there wasn't a heck of a lot of difference between me except skin color. And a lot of my soul brothers, you call them now, we didn't have that name for them then, you know. And then I thought, well, hey, as hard as it is to get a black record played, what can I do for black people as well as white folks? I said to myself, there's got to be a broadening of the base. What's all this segregation in music? Country music, pop music, race music. Music, man, music. I had the perception, it was kind of like being in a religious meeting, that you really are digging what that preacher is laying down, you know. I had that feeling. This sounds like to me that this is something that the nation and the world possibly should hear and know about.
After Presley was on, I received 700,000 pan letters. Not fan mail, pan mail.
There is no room in this city for the vulgar performances of Elvis Presley.
I watched him gyrate his legs and swivel his hips. And our parent-teachers group feels he should not be on television.
It was all on my shoulders. They put the burden on my shoulder. Like, Uncle Milty, we'll never watch you again. How dare you put a man, a young fellow like that, to gyrate and do those motions which are disgusting. What did I do? I called up Colonel Tom Parker. About 4 days later, after I got the mail, I said, Tom, you have a star on your hand.
A couple of weeks ago on the Milton Berle Show, our next guest, Elvis Presley, received a great deal of attention, which some people seem to interpret one way and some viewers interpret it another. We wanted to show the whole family